Honey, we're live. Hello. Thank you for coming along. It's one of my favourite folds, herringbone tessellation. It doesn't really slip off the tongue. But this is something which is so fascinating. If you haven't tried already, it's going to be such a treat. This was once a fairly normal, boring piece of white A4 paper. And look what it became. David, fantastic to have you here. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. Excellent. Thank you for coming along. I can actually tell it's you. I don't know. You had a strange name for a while that I couldn't recognise. So this is lovely. Isn't it wonderful the way the light's changing from it. So this is just once an A4 piece of paper, and there are people who do all sorts of incredible tessellations. I have not really got into that area much at all. I'm not that keen on measurements, but I'm afraid I'm bringing for you a lovely tessellation which you can do without using any ruler. And so just to show you first principles and also to enjoy the complete wonder of it, you have to really concentrate as well, which is wonderful. Hello, Eric. Thank you for coming along. One working hand today. No, yeah, this is a trickier one. Hello, honey. It's lovely to have you all here. So yeah, it becomes a lovely movable piece of paper. I can do so many brilliant things with it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this. If it's something you've done already, you could never get bored of this. If it's something you've never done, well, very exciting. I've been doing, hello, Amanda. Or I've done some drawings. These are copies of some of my drawings and folding them up and just playing around with the shapes that you can get. I just love it. It's such a playable fold. Is that the right word? It's very playful indeed. You can just enjoy so much. Some more drawings. That's a kidney. See the kidney? It's there and then it disappears. So you can fold things up. You can just keep playing, keep using it. Hello, Anchor. Thank you for coming along. This is like a little tiny detail of part of one. I thought start simple for showing people, and then we can get bigger. It's lovely, isn't it? Very sculptural. And yeah, it really requires concentration. So I thought I'd bring some more challenging folds. Hello, Junid. Thought I'd bring along some more challenging folds for this time of year. I think we all need a little bit of a pick me up. And thinking about it as a focus, it's such a sad time here and across the world. Thank goodness for science giving us the hope that we all need. That with time things will get better. All we can do is just keep away, keep up that distancing. I know it's horrible being isolated, but you know what? Let's use the time. It's certainly helped me an awful lot doing origami, and it's so lovely to have something to pass on to you. Transmission in a good way, just through the digital. And it's all very much about touch and feel. So that's something that we're missing in these times. So next week, I'm going to bring to you the Flexagon, which is from Tomoko Fuse as well, which is also an amazing dynamic one. So we've got lots of interesting things to do. I've also at the moment working on some origami around viruses and vaccines, and I'm very excited to share that with you. I've been inventing an origami syringe just to celebrate science and to learn about how your immune system, your antibodies work. So there's all sorts of things I'm really looking forward to sharing with you together with some of my drawings. But for now, let's just enjoy the playful, amazing qualities of origami. So I recommend not really just getting a square, but just go and grab a piece of paper, whatever you've got. Maybe A4. I'll probably show you folding from half an A4. Takes a long time if you're going to do one like this. I think that would be a little bit too long, but you'll get the idea, and then you'll be able to do more yourself. So I just keep nattering till about 5 minutes past because it can take people a little while to arrive. Oh wow, we've got a really big crowd. This is amazing. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. There's something quite special about live, isn't there? Yes. And lots of room for possibilities as to what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, hopefully we'll make something a bit like this. So grab your pieces of paper. I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper and see how that folds. So grab something as well that's comfortable to press on. Maybe you've got a table. I tend to grab a board. My familiar, well scribbled on board. There we go. So yeah, it's 5 past. We can get going, can't we? Right. So grab your board, and no doubt there'll be many different ways of doing the same thing. So different people may well do it differently. And as I said, I've learnt without using a ruler. And I think if you were to get up to doing anything bigger and more complex than this, it would get a little bit hard. So you may then want to start looking at other things too. But it's a real joy to play with. Right, paper, board. Here goes. Hello, Penny. I think we're ready to start. So I reckon we could do with it's fine if you have got a square. I'm going to take a piece of paper and just halve it because I think it would take too long to do a whole A4. So this is more about principles, and that's what I'm always encouraging, that you get the idea of how things work. That's what's exciting. So folding your piece of paper in half, I'm going to use just a half an A4. Okay. Very satisfying to tear. There we go. So a piece of paper, and what we'll do first of all is sort of make a fan, just going, halving it and halving it again, and then getting it so it goes up and down those little ridges, and then from there we can start introducing this herringbone tessellation, which actually, if you look at material, you'll sometimes see nice kind of a really nice old-fashioned suit. You'd see the material going up and down. I reckon it's quite a strong structure. So all I'm going to do now is fold it in half. And am I going to do it this way? Yes, I'm going to do it this way. There we go. And fold it in half again. So this outside to the middle line. And hopefully you're doing the same with me. I'll go slowly. So do shout if you need me to explain anything again. So all I'm doing is splitting a piece of paper. Hello, honey. Excellent. Painting my origami. Whoa. That's amazing. Oh. Wow. So wow. That sounds amazing. So you've been painting. Oh no, I will have to look at this. Thank you so much, honey. I will check my tweets more carefully and take the outside and bring it to the middle. So at the moment I've divided it into 4. There's no golden rule for how many times you split this up. The more ridges you add, the more folds that you've got to do. Wow. Amazing. Hello, Wendy. Welcome. So I think I'll just divide these ridges in half again. So all I'm doing is this proportion. So I fold it in half and then half again. And then I'll do a half again. Why not? Hello, Deborah. Welcome. So, Deborah, all we've done is we've folded a piece of paper in half and then half again. And then in half again on each of these. And yep, so this one I'm going to divide in half. You'll find as well that you'll be able to start matching the kind of ridges. That's another way of doing it, she says. Oh, maybe not for that one. Oh, what am I doing? Many ways you can do it. The thing is, just be careful and take your time. Oh, how lovely. A group of 20 of us. That's amazing. So I am simply dividing these lines up so that they're all equal. This one here, I'm going to divide in half too. So I hope you're doing the same. Or if not, as in Eric, just enjoy watching. And I have ended up using white. I actually thought the white was rather lovely. It's certainly good for you being able to see what I'm doing. And some people have been folding reds and blues. I really like red, actually. Get really lush effects. Half again. So all I've done is started adding more and more lines, but they're all equal. Hello, Matthew. Thanks for coming along. So once you've divided up your area, are you all happy? Have you all divided up? It doesn't matter how many ridges you do, just as long as those gaps are all equal. So then what I'm going to do is just make them like a little fan. So you're just going one way and then the other way. So I've already made my lines and folding it back and forth. That's it. And actually, David, your beautiful, I don't know if you can see in the background, David, you might just about be able to spy in the background. Can you see over there? There's a daffodil that you made me, and I sort of made a vase out of this herringbone tessellation. I'll show you in a moment. But so with David, we were doing some origami sessions in a library here in Oxford, which is where I live. And I've actually kept those going online, and it's amazing. Each time they keep selling out. I've been funded, thankfully, by the lottery, so it means I'm able to have some funding. And so I've been offering a free monthly session. Not everyone turns up, so before we sold out for 100 tickets, I think maybe about 60 people turned up, which is still a lot. And this time I've increased it to 140 tickets. They've all sold out well in advance again. So I think also people from around the world, which is amazing that we can all fold together. So should look like this. I'm going to show you just briefly, David. It's so lovely to hear that you're feeling hopefully a little bit better. Look. So this is an amazing daffodil that David, who's with us now, has made and gave to me, and I just loved it so much. And I ended up putting it with this sort of semi-herringbone. So if you just do it partially at the top, it looked to me a little bit like a lovely vase. So can really play around. Right, hopefully your folding was lovely. Treasured. I think often origami it's about gifts, making things. It's really nice, isn't it? It's about making things and often just giving them to people. It's such a special thing. So I hope you've made a sort of corrugated fan-like material by Ted Dormington. Yes. And actually I attempted to give it a go because there is a diagram in one of the British Origami Society magazines. Oh, you can just about see in the background. It's very wide. I wasn't able to do it properly, but it was different. It was wider and it fitted quite nicely over a light. So that was quite nice. So I made it a little bit different. So hopefully you've got your piece. We'll have a good old chat today. So it's all folded up like a fan. I hope you've got that. And for the start of making our herringbone tessellation, doesn't slip off the tongue, does it? I'm going to take the corner and fold it in a straight line. She says it's never that easy in the camera, but try and be exact. And this is, I'm going to have to put this down. Hello, Stephen. That's okay. All I've done is fold a sort of a fan. So going backwards and forwards, divided up a piece of paper. It's up to you how many ridges you do, just as long as they're equal. I'm sure you know how to do this. And I've learned through folding rather than measuring. So I've just folded over the end so it matches up there. Now we might as well make this line nice and sharp. So if you then fold it back the other way, and it will just make it that a little bit easier. Now the more folds and ridges and bigger your paper was, the harder this would be to do, which I guess is why at some point you'd have to measure. But I resist a little bit on the measurements. So you should be able to open it up. And you can see there is this zigzaggy line. So what I want you to do is push each of these little triangles in. And this is the very start of your lovely structure that you're going to make. Hope this is working for you. So this first bit is quite easy. The second step's the harder one. And then after that, it slowly gets easier again. You'll see. So hopefully, does that work for you? And you can then fold it up again, just along the ridges that you've already got. You should be able to fold it up like so. And actually, folding it up, you'll find it's a little bit wider, but then you can squeeze it together. Give those lines a nice bit of sharpness. Excellent. Like that. Happy? Have you done that? That looks nice and sharp. Lovely. Now your next move, you're ready to move on? It's very hard to tell. Nice. Next move is to take the piece and just fold it so it sticks up. So it sticks up at this nice vertical angle. I hope I've got this right. Taking the end, the famous last words, and I was trying to make a pentagon and it fell in half. You never know until you make the mistake. You're like, no. There we go. We'll find out whether this works. So I folded it up, and again, the same thing. If you folded it one way, fold it back along the same line, just to make it nice and strong. That'll just make it easier. Let's see if I've got it the right way around. Or you've got it the right way around, whether I've misled you. You never know. So I'm going to open it up. Yay! I've got it the right way around. Can you see the lines are lined up with the other lines? Great. This step is slower and harder, and you have to be very patient on yourself. So you're sort of reversing the direction of things. So the way, at least that I've been doing it, there probably will be other ways of doing it, maybe better ways, but the way that I've learned is each of these, so this ridge should turn into a valley. So each time one's sticky up, it needs to go the opposite direction. And by doing that, you're starting to give this a nice three-dimensional feel. And it is quite tricky at first, which is why I've started with a smaller piece of paper. Because once it gets up to A4, it's harder. So it's dipping in there. This one's dipping in. It needs to go the other way. So pushing out. And I think you'll find this a little bit tricky. That's fine. And each time as it comes up to that little V shape, push it in and it starts to go the opposite way. It's only by doing it that you'll discover how this works. It's fascinating. It's not something I think that you could do quick. This is sticking out, so it needs to go in. It's a good old challenge. I wasn't thinking of showing these more complex folds, but I found actually that people seem to follow more videos which I've done much more complicated. So whilst I will definitely do a mixture, and I do not recommend starting off hard, we can include a few tricky ones. So hopefully you're concentrating very hard on your own paper. Or Eric, you can watch. And each time it's a valley, I change it to a mountain and click the bottom of that. And it's been amazing. I've seen so many people have been sharing their folds and that they've managed to do it. And all sorts of people. It's brilliant. And this is all in support of distancing, but bringing community in different ways and looking after our mind. Maybe you can make presents for others, show you care. So this is, I think, the hardest step out of the lot because you're only just starting to reverse directions. And maybe the easy way is just to concentrate on that zigzaggy line, and it's beginning to go three-dimensional. Doesn't it look amazing against the light? Wow. I don't know how it's working for you. And we've always got the videos that I've done before as well, so you can always go back to that. And if you've managed to reverse all of those directions, then you should be able to slowly gather it up again. Yeah, Eric, this is a nice one to watch though, isn't it? You can start to gather it up. Oh, I really love this sort of step. So sculptural. So nice. Squashing it down. Look at this. You can make so many beautiful shapes with it. Very beautiful. Yes, definitely. I've got coffee. Isn't that nice? So pleasing. It's amazing, isn't it, that we're doing all of this? I think it's amazing not using a ruler, not using any template, that it's just from principles, dividing up and angles and being careful. And yeah. So maybe you've done that row. It's the same thing for the next row. So if you push it together, I just love it. So pleasing. I must do a really big one at some point. I don't know if I could through just folding this way. So the way that I like to think of it is just, can you see there's a sort of a flattish strip, is to continue with that. So what am I doing? Eric can laugh at this, right. So you can see it's almost like a little strip. So then pushing it up, it is a great toy. It is. And then hopefully you're getting the hang of it. And it's only really in your own hands at this that you'll be getting the hang of it. But that's the beauty of origami. This is proper interaction, isn't it? You're interacting with materials. Oh, it looks like a little creature. So I folded it that way, then fold it back the other way. And you end up with a sort of little wider line that's developing there. At least that's how I've ended up thinking of it, trying to keep it so it looks flattish, perfectish, maybe. Okay. And then it's again the same thing, that you're opening it up. And again, you can see these nice little V shapes. And again, it's the same thing. Where it's a mountain, change it to a valley. Where it's a valley, change it to a mountain. That's it. But it's not as simple as it sounds, is it? It's much more wonderfully complicated, and maybe quite, I just think there's something about it's very mesmerizing. It's a bit like minimalist music somehow. So as I'm changing one to the other, it starts to give this more form as well. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know, David, whether you could recommend, or Stephen, any other tessellations which don't necessarily involve kind of rulers. I don't know why I'm anti-ruler, but just nice to work just from hands and paper, really. If you've got any thoughts. And this is pretty much the only tessellation I've done, and I do love it. And I've attempted to follow Wanton Brooks, and then I've got really frustrated, and it's somehow just not found that pleasing as well. Whereas I love the sort of simplicity and yet challenge of this. Sometimes it's just finding things that just have meaning to you, really. And again, it's sort of, see how it's pushing in. And after this one should be easier than the last one. Again, gathering it all up. Crunchy paper. And oh, isn't that lovely? Yes, oh, well done, honey. That's great. Isn't that a lovely thing? Again, squashing it down. So I sort of got into, well, I got into origami from a patient, but partly I was really curious to observe the very understandable, but really not acknowledged boredom that comes in hospital. But actually, I think for us all now, with constraint, with lack of options for activity, how can you help? And I think origami is as close as I've got to a single answer, because it's so challenging. Everyone has access to paper, and it has a lot of meaning. So I think you end up finding something that has meaning to you. It's always about connection. It connects with other people. There's a whole rich culture, but there's always this feeling of discovery. And you go simple and hard as you want. Well, a lot of tessellation never used a ruler. Oh, okay. Easiest tessellation start with probably the square twist. So is that a little bit like the Kawasaki Rose in the middle of that, or the Dahlia that we did recently? Did that have a twist? I love those twists. That feeling of movement. So again, I'm just sort of following this line, really, taking it and follow the line. Again, matching it up. There we go. By this point, it's getting easier. And again, yeah, if there are any that you would recommend, Stephen, I've loved this, and I've not quite known where to go next. If you have any thoughts, or David, any thoughts? There we go. So I folded it one way and then the other way, same thing, and hopefully you're getting the idea. Opening it up. And where it goes in, it needs to go out. Yeah, I love those kind of curves. Yeah, if you've got any recommendations, I feel as if I know the sort of is it the hydrangea, which is a classic one. I don't know why it hasn't got me visually. I sort of need to feel excited about things visually too. I don't know why it doesn't. It looks too sort of square almost. Don't know. But I think it's finding something that just sort of tickles you and you can't even say why some things really. Kawasaki Rose is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know whether to dare try to show at some point. I took an entire summer to memorise that. I was determined to remember it. And it's actually been a while since I practiced it, so I'll probably have to practice again. And it's so beautiful. So in the hospital, I'd sometimes make roses or sometimes encourage people to join me, which is just quite amazing because there are people obviously who've had no experience of origami, and I've encouraged them to join me making a Kawasaki Rose, which is quite an ambitious one. And they've managed it sometimes before operations even. And sometimes they make a rose, or sometimes it'd be watching me make a rose, but sometimes having a go. And then I'd say, close your eyes. Would you like it to smell of a rose? Close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I just get a bottle of nice, I've got some rose perfume and spray it. So it's like, have a smell, open your eyes. And it's magic. Have you done that? Without realizing, of course, I've just used perfume, but the smell enters the paper really nicely too. So you can make flowers and get them to smell nice too. So that could be something you could send. I sent sort of best friend from my school days a big bunch of flowers, and I sent them through the post to New Zealand and I sprayed them with perfume, and she got some nice, fresh, lovely smelling flowers, which have stayed fresh as well. So again, squashing it together. And for you, it'll be doing your own one. That's it, squashing it down. Is that lovely? Could leave it like this. I'll do the final one. Again, doing my best to keep it lined up. There's a rose tessellation as well, the crystallized rose. Wow. Yeah, maybe I should look more. Push my boundaries. At the moment, I'm making. I made some nice little origami wellbeing kits for my colleagues at UCH. So all these films are dedicated to my colleagues there, and they seem to have gone down very well. So I've offered to different areas of the hospital that I could make slightly simpler packs to include something that I folded, the little made of glove leaflet, which has got sort of 5 different folds on, some papers, some train tickets from February. So this is before everything happened and I realised that things would change. And I asked at the railway station whether I could have some train tickets. There's a really nice jumping frog you can make from that, so I'll include that. And a piece of haiku from an amazing palliative care nurse, and they're really beautiful actually. I think there is something in common actually with haiku, of course, both from Japan, but very beautiful, working within limitation, and they can be very profound. So anyway, so I need to do 100 little folded things. Cool. But I'm going to pace myself. I mean, I know the plateau so far. This is a little pot of colourful, also things that look nice flat, because I need to be able to send it through the post. So actually the dahlias and the blossom heart's nice. This was something that Nick Robinson showed me at one of the conferences. I love that. It was this lovely triangular little box. Some of the chrysanthemums. So I'll do a mixture, but I've got quite a few to go. So at the moment, I shouldn't do anything new until I've folded 100. But I said I'd take at least a week because I don't want to get repetitive strain injury. Okay, so opening it up. I don't know if that's ever a problem with the 1,000 cranes, but it's always good to be aware not to do the same action too much. So again, I've done the zigzags and again, changing the direction. It gets much easier by this point. So going down there, it's the opposite way. Each time it's the opposite way. How it is. I'm sure you must be finding your tongue sticking out at times because it's so it can require so much attention. It's almost can make you so tense doing it that it makes you feel afterwards so much lighter. There we go. And squashing it together. And if there's anything sticking up, then you can do the same thing with the last little bit. Can you see it's sort of fairly straightish? Not absolute perfection, but not bad. You will never get perfection. It's what makes it individual, isn't it? The kind way of putting it. It's always about being kind to yourself, origami. Never put yourself down. You're trying and you're doing new things. And that's always the best attitude. So again, I'm squashing it down so it will line up. Isn't that a lovely thing? Like a very detailed pan. So again, done it both ways. And hopefully you've just been playing around yourselves too and feeling that we're doing this together. I've got little tiny bits of triangles there, pushing them in. It's easy by this point. If you've made it this far, and if you haven't, hopefully you're getting the principle. With time and patience, this is something you can really enjoy doing. I would love to cover a room with this. It'd just be amazing, wouldn't it? A really big installation. I don't know whether that's been done. A massive. I mean, it looks man-made, doesn't it? Of course it's man-made, human-made, but you know what I mean? It's so perfect. It looks like you couldn't possibly have done this just with your hands. Strange phrase, actually, isn't it, man-made? Because it's often refers to being quite artificial, whereas you're making it with your hands. Anyway, I am really chatting away to myself here. So I hope you managed to do something. Oh, yes, it would be nice acoustics. Yeah, but I wonder if we could do some kind of game as well, like rolling things through it. It's just such a nice thing. Nice kind of rounder shapes, and did a really long strip. How you could change it around, move it. Happy days of paper. Yeah, I hope it's helped to take your mind off things and to feel connected. Yeah, Dick's amazing. Yeah, he was actually showing a child, and I joined in with this beautiful triangular structure, which I will show you sometime. It's really nice. It's quite simple and effective. And funnily enough, actually, I'm doing some resources at the moment around viruses and vaccines, and the spike of the coronavirus is a perfect equilateral triangle. It's so beautiful, and it'll be little variations there that can cause mischief, but it's fabulous, really beautiful symmetries. When you start looking at little proteins, they're often like little pieces of modular origami. They come in 3s or 5s, and it's just so pleasing. So I've been combining things like drawing with then folding up. So learning about science in different ways. I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. But I will keep it stum just for now. And hopefully in due course, I will be sharing you its folds to make various different things to do with vaccines, learning about science as well. But this is very much a piece of engineering. So thanks ever so much, everyone. I've managed it. It looks great in bright pink. There you go. I should clearly diversify on the colour. Definitely. Oh, she said folds. Yes. Oh gosh, so you've made a really fine one. It's hard, isn't it? The more folds you add. I was quite pleased actually doing a very, very simple one. This one, just a few folds. Doesn't that look brilliant? Really tiny number. That's the one that I showed for the demonstration actually. I thought I'm just going to show super simple, but it's beautiful. So yes, I will see you next week. I'm going to bring along something else dynamic. I think for this month we've needed a bit more challenge to the challenge of getting our minds off things and just keeping at home, keeping safe, keeping distancing, but also this makes you hopefully feel connected and a bit excited about life. So look after yourselves and wishing you a very good week. And I will, be sharing another video soon at the weekend and then another live fold at 2. So take care. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day and week. Bye bye.